Hello, everybody. I've got Alicia Cramer here, and I'm excited. This can be a good one. Alicia, who do you help, and how do you help them?
I am known as, by many people, the go-to hypnotherapist for entrepreneurs. So I love to get into business owners' heads and we shift limiting beliefs, those nagging fears, self-doubt, insecurities, building confidence issues, uh, life-changing inner transformation at the subconscious level.
Okay, this could be fun. This could be a fun interview. So, do you focus on what's that book called? There's a book that talks about hypnotic writing. I think
Oh,
is what it's called.
Dr.
Hypnotic.
Joe Vitale, that's been out forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting um, hooked on that book back when I started my internet marketing journey in early 2000s. So it's been out for a long time. Now, what I will say is understanding psychology is like mission critical in marketing. We know that. Understanding psychology when you want to change habits and beliefs and your self-image, absolutely essential. Like we've all gone through the courses and we learn these really great skills. And if we don't have the self-image that supports that, we'll self-sabotage. We won't take any action. If we do take action, we'll give up too soon. Our results will suck. All of
Yeah.
that stuff is being influenced and affected by the subconscious mind. And so if I could write my way into people's subconscious and get them to, it's ethics, right? You're not going to, you know, hypnotize everybody to just, hand over their money to you. But power of the subconscious mind, it's so valuable to understand and to start to actually use that to your advantage as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. When you change your inner state, right, your energy transfers in your copy, so you do become more hypnotic.
Yes. Yes. Especially if you get consent, because you're talking about that, the ethics of it. And if you get consent, not only is it ethical, it makes it more powerful.
So there is a huge myth that keeps people from utilizing the benefits of hypnosis. Contrary to what the media has instilled in people, these sort of fear-based ideas that are floating around, hypnosis is not mind control. In fact, no one can make you do anything against your will.
You're not
And
going to quack
even
like a
if
duck.
you're, so what a lot of people don't realize is when you go to one of those stage hypnosis shows, that hypnotist knows how to find individuals in the audience who are hyper suggestible, highly suggestible.
Mhm.
The technical term is they're a somnambulist, which means they are most prone to going into a deep hypnotic state and most likely to sort of play around with all of the suggestions. Most of us are not. Um,
Yeah.
Most people just, they would never, even if you were working with the most powerful hypnotherapist on the planet, if that individual gives you a suggestion, even when you're in a hypnotic state, it contradicts your core values, you will not accept that suggestion. And that's why
Mm.
in many cases, you actually need to do some repetition because sometimes we genuinely want to change. We know all the reasons why we should change, like an addiction or a bad habit or whatever. But a part of us is really holding on to that. And so we need to sort of break down those barriers little by little so that we can finally safely accept that new suggestion, that it's okay to be on camera. It's okay to put yourself out there. It's okay to be a multimillionaire. It's crazy how many subconscious beliefs we have that are directly contradicting our best intentions, things that would be
Yeah.
so good for us, so good for our family, and wondering what in the hell is wrong with me why am I still doing this to myself? Why can't
Yeah.
I just go out there and keep taking that action consistently? Why am I so scared of putting that post on Facebook or whatever it is? All that stuff is deep rooted.
Yes. And it's like a operating system that we run on. We don't even know we're running on this operating system, right? This is this underlying programming that guides our decisions.
Yeah. And the reality is you can see in your life what your beliefs are because it's showing up in your results.
Yes.
The trick is you can know something's off, but the mind is sort of hardwired to keep the status quo. What is known is what is safe. And so if you have a belief on some level of the mind that success is bad, your parents are gonna be humiliated, devastated, whatever. This is a really silly example, but just to kind of drive home the point. If on some level,
Come from a
because
blue
once
collar
upon
family, maybe not so much. My
maybe,
family's like that.
yeah. I mean, it's surprisingly common, honestly. And sometimes it's unfounded. Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes it's directly like, that's not the kind of people we are. I remember hearing my mom one time say to a friend's daughter, you know, oh, we weren't born with the silver spoon, like all
Right.
condescending, you know?
Hmm.
And so on some level of the mind, you're trying to protect yourself. You love your mom. You love your parents. You love your family. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to be the person to make them feel bad or feel like you did something shameful or wrong or horrible because that defies your values.
Wow.
So we have to get in there and we have to, I like to say we're challenging those beliefs because when you really start to look at it more objectively, you're like, wait a second, it's not helping them for me to not be able to pay my mortgage. It's not helping anybody, right? And you start to unravel this crazy stuff. It's not always apparent what is going on that is causing us to stay stuck or self-sabotage. And that's the value sometimes of bringing in somebody like myself or a different expert who specializes in these things, because this stuff will literally hide in plain sight. It'll be, the evidence is right there, but you can't see it because you're so accustomed to it. It's normal for you. And your mind is really good at saying, oh no, it's because of this. And there's all these justifiable reasons why. And it just keeps almost obsessively loop playing the justifications. That's how you know your mind is fucking with you. When you keep hearing the same stuff over and over and over and over again, the same justifications. And they seem logical, but a part of you knows it's BS. You can feel it.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And you fall into that belief anyways. It's funny, people always seem to make just above what they think they need to make as far as the income beliefs go.
Money
Even high level
belief.
people. I found this with high level
Oh,
people to where, they're
yes,
cranking and they're doing so well in their business, but they're like redlining it. And it's just like they're not allowing themselves to push past a certain ceiling.
absolutely. I've been working exclusively with business owners since right around 2010, 2011. And I've had some very wealthy clients who, from the outside looking in, you're saying they've got it all together, right? They've got a great mindset, great money mindset. I can tell you that many of my um, most successful business owners are dealing with some kind of financial fear, some kind of limiting beliefs that is blocking them financially. There's some kind of past, I call it money trauma. Like I know I've personally gone through it. My first business I mentioned back in the early online marketing days, filed bankruptcy on my first business when I was like 21, 22 years old. There's, financial trauma is a real thing. And
Yeah.
one of the things we'll talk about, because I've got it for your listeners here, is called my Money Mindset Intensive, where I go into uncovering those beliefs and how to shift them. Because Having worked with business owners exclusively now for well over a decade, I promise you there is not a single client I have ever worked with, even when they come in for something else, like I'm addicted to the news or I'm cheating on my wife or whatever it is, right? They've got some kind of money stuff because it is so deeply programmed into us in our families, in our society, like collectively. Money wounds are prevalent. They are abundant. It's kind of
Yeah.
ironic, right? There is an overabundance of scarcity mindset.
100%. Yeah, that's funny. That is almost like an oxymoron, abundance of scarcity. So, now how did you get into that? Tell us your story. I want to hear your origin story.
Okay, so I'm going to actually skip a couple parts, but there is a method to the madness. So I grew up actually on a dairy farm, hardworking, entrepreneurial minded parents. Now, when I say hardworking, I'm not kidding. Like working, getting up early, working all day, 7 days a week, without a vacation, without a break. And they were
Mm.
so proud of how hard they worked, but they fought violently about money. There was always talk of scarcity. It was a complete shit show. Now, I developed a ton of self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, self-worth issues. I started drinking at a very young age, chip off the old block. Um, Very self-destructive early beginnings. But I wanted so much to be an entrepreneur. When I was 18, I got into network marketing. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to crush this, right? You're sold the dream of money and time freedom. And I just couldn't ever, I was uncomfortable. I was shy. I couldn't put myself out there. I was intimidated. I was afraid to ask for sales. I was afraid to talk to anybody. So fast forward a couple of years, left my homeland of Wisconsin and drove out to California, and I'm going to start my new life. And I go and I buy this three
Wow,
thousand
that's a big
dollar
shift, isn't it?
yeah three
Wisconsin to
thousand
California.
dollar in-person training with Frank Kern and Sean Casey, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
learning how to be an internet marketer. Right, I'm going to start this internet store. Self-sabotage. End up moving back to Wisconsin, filing bankruptcy, devastated, crushed, right? Pick myself up, gonna start over. A couple of years go by, dream never dies. Just have this desire in me. I want to be my own boss. Hated working for other people, hated it. And fast forward 2005, I was out with some girlfriends, given a date rape drug, came to, had been physically and sexually assaulted, and totally rocked me. Like I thought I had
Oh, man.
self-confidence issues before. It was debilitating, like where my phone would ring, I would just have a panic attack. I couldn't sleep. There was massive anxiety all the time. And I was like, okay, I cannot live like this, period. I can't.
Right.
So my options were either I figure out how to fix myself, or it was going to be a painful exit because it was horrible. I chose, I'm going to find a cure. And so I booked a session with a hypnotherapist. 300 miles away was an EFT practitioner. For anybody who's ever heard of tapping, EFT, tapping emotional freedom techniques, that's what that is. Super awesome, by the way, for changing beliefs. A bunch of energy workers, like I went all in. And
Mm.
I just started like this deep healing process and recognized how messed up I was actually before the incident happened. Years worth of self-confidence issues, self-esteem issues. I wouldn't let people take a photo of me. I was so like, I'm talking deep-rooted stuff here, not like,
Yeah.
oh, I kind of was a little bit shy. Like, no, I was really messed up. But it was incredibly transformational. And I was so convinced that if these things could help me, then I could help anyone with these things. And so I got my certification, my training as an EFT practitioner, and I decide I'm going to take another crack at this business, because this time it was for a different reason. Like before, it was just like, I don't want to work for anybody else. I just want to make money. And this time it's like, I have a tool here that can help people, and I want to help people. I want to transform people's lives like I'm transforming my own life. So I start my EFT practice, and I got a couple clients, but it wasn't enough to ever like really make a go of it. So I ended up working, I got a job as a sales manager at a cell phone store, and I'm doing it and I'm hating every minute of it, but it's a job. And then I get pregnant. And I remember sitting in that cell phone store and thinking to myself, there is no way that I am sending this child off to some stranger somewhere so they can raise my child while I'm working at this fucking job that I hate. I have to figure this out. And so I put on my Superwoman cape. I went back to school for psychology, hypnotherapy, from the Hypnosis Motivation Institute, which is a nationally accredited college of hypnotherapy, and metaphysical science. So yes, I am woo-woo, but with a scientific, pragmatic undertone. And
That's cool.
I got my certification as a hypnotherapist, and I opened my brick and mortar hypnotherapy practice in Wausau, Wisconsin. Got my certification in 2009, started working with people, actually initially Craigslist advertisement. They come to my house
Really?
and they come downstairs into my basement. I go, ghetto, right? Like
Yeah.
bootstrapping it.
Not the
And then I
best, not the
upgraded
best
to a
leads
real
coming from
office.
Craigslist, probably.
Some of them were okay, but there was I remember one questionable one, and he was like really honest with me. He's like, I book these sessions because I just like ladies. And I was like, well, we're going to change that. And so I did a session with him.
Wow.
um, and it just sort of evolved. But here's the thing, I still had to then work through and unravel so many other limiting beliefs that I had about myself. And so the journey continued, and I got really deep into learning how to do business right. So I started heavily studying like marketing. Dan Kennedy is still to this date like one of like I got a marketing crush on Dan Kennedy. Is still like the guy that I always reference. But
Yeah, he's so
like
insane.
you're
He
learning.
power of words, and that man, like he knows the power of words. He's crazy.
Yeah. And he gets mindset. He was a co-author to Psycho Cybernetics. He gets this stuff. He
Oh,
weaves this stuff in. You wouldn't think that he's woo-woo at all. It's not woo-woo, but I mean, some people think it is the more conventional minded approach. He knows this stuff. He gets it. And I think that's probably why I love him so much, because he's rough around the edges, like me. Um, he has really risen, like, out of his own crap that he, went through early on. And,
mhm.
those are the types of mentors that we want to have. And in about 2010, 2011, I had my brick and mortar hypnotherapy practice, and I just knew I loved working with entrepreneurs. The clients that would come into my hypnotherapy practice who were business owners, I would get excited. It didn't matter what we were working on. We could be doing a weight loss session for them. There was just something about them, like the dream was still there. And so
Yeah.
I decided I don't want to be tied to this brick and mortar thing. I'm going to go virtual. I was very innovative, right? And so I started to market myself as a coach and hypnotherapist to entrepreneurs, and I started doing Skype sessions and phone sessions, and it just sort of progressed from there. So that is my origin story, and that kind of brings us up to where we are today.
That's so cool. I love your story. That's so inspiring. And I had no idea that Dan Kennedy was a co-author for that book.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that book, and I've been thinking about reading it. But now that I know he's one of the co-authors, I'm definitely going to read that.
Yeah,
That's good
I know,
stuff.
right? That's
But
the
how do people go
power of
deeper with you?
influence, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But how do people go deeper with you if they love this? Which you guys, if you love this, comment below. This was super powerful stuff. But how do they get more?
So I mentioned to you that I have a gift. Usually my money mindset intensive is $600. It's sort of it is a DIY. Like there's videos where I walk you through how do you identify what those fucked up mindset beliefs are, what the old memories are that are tripping you up. And then we go through and we use all those weird, wacky, woo-woo tools that really do work to start to clean that stuff up. And you can get that actually for free. It's just I'm testing it. It's my new opt-in I'm testing for a limited time. You go to my website and it's right there at the top. So website is aliciacramer.com. Alicia like Alicia Keys, Alicia, Cramer with a C, Cramer.com. And get it for free. Take advantage of the opportunity while it's there. And if you want one-on-one support, if you're like, okay, I just want to go right to the source, I want to go right to the expert, you work with me, help me unravel this crap, then you head over to the same website, you learn about what I do. If it feels like it might be the right fit, book a consultation, we'll get on a call. No high pressure. It's got to be a good fit for both of us. And we'll do what we need to do to get you to where you want to be.
Yes, such powerful stuff. Thanks so much for being here. And in closing, I want to really highlight the scientific grounding that you put this in, because I think a lot of people have a hard time with the woo woo side, because you mentioned woo woo and people are like, oh, that's woo woo. But what I like about what you do is you ground it in science, and that's powerful, because when you take some of these spiritual and energetic aspects and you ground them and you merge them to modern science, like this is real stuff, guys, and
This is
powerful
real
stuff. This
stuff.
is
It's
yes,
physics. It's physics. Honest to God, it is understanding neuroscience, understanding physics. It is just as real as the chair that you're sitting on. And you got to be willing to let go of those misconceptions that you have. Get educated, get schooled. There's so much scientific um, information out there to explain how the mind works and why hypnosis works and why things like EFT tapping work. And if you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, it can be really transformational.
yes, exactly. And as an entrepreneur, and if you're leading webinars, you're leading interviews, or you're going and speaking on stage, as an entrepreneur, you have to evolve away from the physical self, and you have to start to think of things as energy. Your audience's energy, your energy. What energy are you bringing? Are you controlling your energy? Are you controlling the energy of the audience and helping them have a better experience? Like we are energy wrapped up in physical form. So loved it. I loved you being on here. Thanks so much. Appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys for showing up. See you later.